Before we get into today's video, guys, go and subscribe to the Gloves Off podcast. Me and Bullet RC are going live tomorrow on Thursday on the Gloves Off podcast. Check the link down below in the description and turn on the bell so that when we go live tomorrow, you guys can stay tuned. But also go check out the videos as we got plenty of that for you guys and girls already on the channel now to get caught up. Let's get to today's video. Let's get it. What's good, everybody in the building, man? It's your boy Tonyd2wild checking in once again. And after 38 years, the Nike Mac Attack is finally seeing the day of light. Let me first off just say that, bruh, a lot of y'all in the comment section was just dogging the shoe. Straight up just dogging this shoe, all right? And I kind of think it has a lot to do with the fact that Travis Scott's name's attached to it rather than the shoe itself being bad. I don't see anything really wrong with the shoe. It's not a ugly looking shoe whatsoever, but I can definitely see the people hating the fact that the shoe is getting hyped because of the name that's being campaigned and slightly attached to it. But today, guys, we have the review of the upcoming Nike Mac Attack set to release on June 23rd for a retail price point of $120.
These are the shoes of John McEnroe.
And if you guys don't know, Johnny Mac, a legendary tennis player in the singles and doubles, and we're finally seeing it being brought back after 38 years of sitting in the Nike archives. Some quick facts about Johnny Mac. He's won 7 Grand Slams in the singles and 9 Grand Slams in the doubles. He's been known for his very fiery temper, his temperament, going in on umpires, going in even on his opponents during some very fiery matches. And maybe that has to do a lot with the name Mac Attack that is tied along with this shoe. Another cool fact is that he's left-handed, something that's very unique, and he has a very unique style of play, which is also very aggressive, but he has a nice little touch and feel and very good precision when it comes to tennis. And I'm not gonna sit here and cap like I'm an extraordinary tennis player myself, but I just wanted to give you guys a little history lesson. But also, he's made a very exceptional career in broadcasting as well. So, you know, he's doing his thug thizzle. But we have the Mac Attack here in its all glory and, you know, in its original debut, man, featuring some very neutral colors. I also like the box. The box itself comes in this very nice checkered pattern, which is also featured on the tongue as well. This shoe released before me, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like, man, I remembered it. Bruh, it released in 1984. I wasn't born. It hasn't retroed since then. So yeah, you know, it is what it is. The Nike Attack Quick Strike Special Project LT Smoke Gray Black White, size 8.5, and it has the women's sizing on the bottom. Box right there. And overall, it's a very nice overall sneaker. Now, releasing in 1984, this is one of the times when Nike kind of transitioned from the traditional Nike tennis shoes to something a little bit more aggressive, which would later attribute to, you know, very successful tennis shoes like the Andre Agassi AirTech Challenge, AirTech Challenge 2, AirTech Challenge 3. And these, I would say, is kind of the predecessor and what ran so the others could, you know, walk. And in my opinion, they did a very amazing job even back then. I'm a fan of the nostalgia. I'm a fan of 80s wear, 90s wear. I'm a fan of the old school stuff. As I get older, I think I start enjoying those things a little bit more. It features a very soft leather on the upper, as well as a black and gray mesh. The gray mesh being featured on the backside, the black mesh being featured on the toe box. And then you have, of course, the gray and black leather, and the texture of the two are pretty much the same. It's a very nice, soft, and plush leather for good flexibility if you want to go out there and play, you know, tennis. But you know, these are more so for casual wear at this point now, but you know, to each his own. It also features the stars around the actual outsole, which you could see, and it mimics the Air Force One still, though releasing in 1982, being the, you know, original Dundada when it came to that. But it's being passed on into a, you know, tennis shoe. Got the Nike on the back printed in right there. You got a little bit of crease because, you know, I put them on and they creased up and I plan on wearing them. The outsole is, of course, for that good traction on the tennis court. A very typical basic outsole for a tennis shoe in the 1980s. The midsole, very basic as well. And something I really haven't seen before is the stitching on the midsole, which just stops right there. It doesn't go around the toe box like we're used to seeing. I'm just looking at any other shoes like that does have that feature, and any shoe really that I see kind of in this type of format has a stitch go around. So maybe they changed it down the road, maybe because shoes were busting open in the front. I don't know, but it was a decision that they made back then that I guess over time has changed. The actual tongue is very, very, very thin, as you can see. It's not thick whatsoever. To get more flexibility and being more agile, you don't want no thick tongue digging in the top of your foot. So I understand it there. And also another very strange thing is on the inside of the shoe, there's no logo whatsoever. This is a first for me for Nike. No Nike branding on the inside. It's just odd. I mean, maybe I guess the OGs came that way, and it is what it is. I gotta get my face close. On the inside also, you see the 8.5, and then you got the style code right there. That's something as well. Very typical. These retail for $120, and for the most part, it's a good price point for a $120 shoe. Like for $120, the shoe itself is a basic shoe. It's not nothing extraordinary as far as how it is. So for $120, I can't really complain whatsoever. Also, you can see you got some little holes on the side, maybe for ventilation. You know, your feet don't stink, giving more ventilation inside there so they don't get hot as well. But $120 is not bad for this shoe, in my opinion. And salute to Nike for doing that. I wonder how much they originally released for. They probably were going for like 60 to 80 bucks back in the 80s, you know, so at the end of the day, they still making their money. Size-wise, right, these are 8.5. I think they fit snug. Honestly, these fit like an 8. So me personally, right, I would want to get a 9. If I can get a 9 down the road, I would definitely swap. I can fit an 8, but it's a little to the point where you guys remember, like usually I'm 8.5 and I like snug. This is 8.5 snug that I kind of don't like as much, you know, so I would definitely recommend sizing up half a size. A 9 would be perfect. The 9 would still be snug, but it wouldn't be snug uncomfortably. It'd be the snug that I like to actually rock. Size 8, it will work in the due time, and if I gotta just break it in, I'll just break it in. But I can definitely say that it's a way more snugger shoe than a typical 8.5. And then also the snugness is also, if you have wide feet, you're gonna definitely feel it more, in my opinion. Like that's another thing. I felt a lot of the tightness on the sides more so than the front to the back. The length was not so much an issue. It was more so the issue on the sides. It just felt like I was getting squished, you feel me? And then also the fact that this is an old shoe. I mean, the outsole, it's a very limited sneaker. Like there's not that many features in there. But for $120, you know, that's kind of what I suspect. So it is what it is. And of course, Nike added on Travis Scott with this campaign, in my opinion, to bring the youth in on something old. And I can't knock Nike for that. We want to have the youth actually like these sneakers, actually want to learn about the history. You feel me? Want to dive in and learn about it. And you can't always just bring the old athlete in to get that. You have to bring something that is very familiar with a new audience to then bring it into something that's been around for, you know, decades. And you guys might hate it, the OGs might hate it, but I understand it from a standpoint. A 15-year-old kid is gonna look at Johnny Mac and be like, who's this old dude, you know? Who's this old fart? And I'm just being funny. I mean, that's like something we would say back in the night. Who's this old fart, you feel me? And they're not gonna wanna go look at 1980 footage to, oh man, he's an amazing tennis player, and they're just gonna fall in love with him. They're not gonna just fall in love with that shoe for like that's not how they relate. You put on this and try to explain it to them, they'll be like, all right, cool, but then what's the next Fortnite skin? You feel me? So you bring in a Travis Scott to be like, oh wow, Travis Scott new sneaker, and then you're like, yeah man, you know, look, Travis Scott's with this guy, and you know, and then they're like, oh snap, Travis Scott's with this guy right here. This guy must be somebody, and then they look and then, oh snap, he's a, you know, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, and they cool. Or that it's a mind thing at the end of the day, unfortunately, but hey, it works, and in my opinion, it's gonna work for this. You're gonna see this shoe do well. In my opinion, it's gonna sell out. It's already going for above the retail price point, so they're doing their job. It's gonna be some point where, I mean, it's already at some point now with Jordan brand. Like, you can't expect my son that's gonna be born, you know, my son's gonna be born later this year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, Jordans are gonna be cool, but my son and them not gonna be like wanting to look back in the 90s and look, like, it's not gonna hit the same for them, bro. It just is what it is. We just gotta be 100 with ourselves at the end of the day. It's gonna be different times, and what's going on then is gonna be more relatable to them, so you gotta bring something relatable to them, to the old, to continue that history down the line. Not saying they won't be interested in Jordan and Kobe, but you got to sometimes lead them to that with something that's more familiar with them, you know, then. So I think that that's going to play a huge part with this, anything moving forward. Chuck Taylors. People don't even know that Chuck Taylor was an actual basketball player. They see Chucks because they see, you know, in the 90s, people were wearing Chucks in LA, you feel me? And then you got, you know, even moving forward, Wiz Khalifa bringing out the Chucks. the Chucks have stayed around because of the people that have put them on continuously and kind of continuing the history of it. So a lot of people don't know though, Chuck Taylor is this player that wore these, like, he's an actual basketball player. He was an actual player that actually had those shoes. So sometimes that's just how progression happens at the end of the day. So sorry for giving y'all a history lesson. Go check out Gloves Off tomorrow. We'll have even more. But let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'm gonna end you guys and girls off with the on foot review. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.